Kansas City, Missouri is the only major city in America that lacks control over its own police department. That will be changing very soon, with another one joining the club. And it's even in the same state. Missouri lawmakers last week voted to retake control of the St. Louis Police Department. The state took it over in the Civil War and gave back control to the city 13 years ago. Supporters say they're working to protect police from funding cuts and the public from crime. In a bipartisan vote, Missouri senators from both parties pushed the bill back into the House, which overwhelmingly passed the measure. But many Democrats from St. Louis are against it.
I don't think anything positive is coming out of this, except for the people who are getting paid to do it.
This is a stab in the back. It is a government overreach.
Partially, the state is, through this Board of Police Commissioners, telling the city how to run this department.
St. Louis's mayor has pledged to fight this push. She points to crime being high the last time the state controlled the city's police force. Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas has long been a supporter of local control, writing of the St. Louis situation last month in an op-ed. No evidence nor logical justification exists to believe that moving political accountability further away from the citizens of St. Louis will lead to better public safety outcomes. This bill is one of many our roundtable is watching this week. Please welcome back Brian Ellison, host contributor with KCUR, and KMBC9 political reporter Michael Mahoney. Let's start with the St. Louis bill. The city's mayor has vowed to fight back. So has her Democratic challenger in the race for mayor. Do you think we're going to see some legal battles here?
We might, but the city of St. Louis is probably going to be charging uphill on this. There is a lot of support for this local control, the end of local control in St. Louis in the legislature. The administration of Tishaura Jones in St. Louis is not very popular, even in St. Louis, much less in the state legislature. So this is going to be an uphill fight for the city of St. Louis to try and hold on to local control.
Yeah, Republicans in the state legislature have been uniformly supportive of this. And then, surprisingly enough, so have a couple of Democrats from Kansas City. So in this past week's vote in the Senate, Senators Maggie Nierenberg and Patty Lewis, both Kansas City Democrats, voted yes. They did that, they said, after there were concessions made in conversations and because of other things that the bill that takes over the St. Louis Police Department including money for restitution for prisoners who've been exonerated, including a ban on shackling pregnant women who are prisoners, eliminating the minimum number of officers. So they said for the gains we can get in other areas of crime and law enforcement, we will support this bill, which is, of course, as you pointed out, in contrast to the position that Kansas City leaders have taken for a long time.
Right. And we talk about public support. You know, in 2012, more than 60% of Missouri voters approved this petition measure returning local control. Why now, do you think, Brian, have Republican lawmakers really set their sights on St. Louis for this?
Well, I think certainly they have the political advantage in this moment. The momentum is on their side. But I think also one of the talking points that has gained a lot of ground even with Democrats is being tough on crime. And there is a sense that taking action is better than not taking action, even though, as again Mayor Quinton Lucas points out, there's really no evidence that the state control of the police board that governs Kansas City Police has resulted in lower crime.
And you know, you got to believe, Brian, that there's a punitive measure element to this as well because of the dislike for the local administration of Tishaura Jones in St. Louis, and for all the reasons that you just stated, plus that, I mean, if you look at the vote on this in the House and the Senate, the local control of the St. Louis Police Department cruised.
Yeah, we talk about Kansas City a lot. We've talked about it on the broadcast a lot. You know, local people want local control, right? State lawmakers, though, would have to sign off on that. Given what we've seen with the St. Louis bill playing out in Jeff City, is there a snowball's chance of that happening?
Not in the foreseeable future. There's always a chance, but not in the current makeup of the legislature, because the lawmakers, and especially the Republican majority down in Jefferson City, view the St. Louis and Kansas City situation with respect to violent crime very much in the same light here. They think that there's a big crime problem here, which there is, and in St. Louis. They had the opportunity to restore state control to St. Louis. They took advantage of it.
And we've even heard some of the supporters of this in the Senate say, you know, we want to protect all of Missouri. So very macro language on something that really affects just 2 cities in Missouri. You know, the General Assembly is on break now for their spring break. Any other bills that you're watching?
Well, I think one of the issues that now seems headed on a very smooth path to Governor Mike Kehoe's signature would potentially increase utility bills across Missouri. The sponsor is Republican Senator Mike Searpoy from Lee's Summit, which would essentially allow utilities to charge more to cover the cost of plants that are under construction to produce power, not just limited to current production costs. And that's likely to result in increased rates for both consumers and for businesses. It has had very little opposition from either party and seems now headed to become law.
Term limits. They are thinking about extending the term limit in Missouri to 16 years total. Right now it's 8 in the House and another 8 in the Senate. This would be 16 years total, whether it's in the House or the Senate.
All right, a lot to consider.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week. Michael Mahoney, Brian Ellison, thank you so much.